All right, welcome back to it. My name's Marc, or Mookie, if you prefer. Either one will do. And we're here at 88.5, the SoCal Sound headquarters. Please know that we are listener-supported public radio, and we can't do it without you. So you can join us at any time. Become a subscribing member at the SoCalSound.org if you believe in what we're doing on and off the air. Today we're here with Trousdale. Hello!
Hello!
How are things? It's Quinn and Georgia and Lauren.
Yeah. Lauren.
And it's so nice to be able to finally meet you.
So nice to meet you.
Believe it or not, we've played some songs off the previous EP, which came out in 2021, and now we're playing some tunes off of Out of My Mind.
Yeah, we're so grateful.
Yeah.
I hope so, because it sounds great on the air, and we hope
you.
that some other radio like-minded stations around the country are following suit and featuring your music as well.
We're hoping that as well.
We're going to get into some live music here in our studio, songs like If I'm Honest, Smart Iowa, and Point Your Finger. And I think our fans are familiar, or our listeners are probably most familiar with Point Your Finger.
Yes.
Trousdalemusic.com is the website, the tour dates, the merch.
Yeah.
It's all up on there.
That's it.
Yep.
You just wrapped up the tour, it looks like. And how did it go? And how has touring changed for this band over the years?
The tour was great. I feel like it was overall very successful. I think every tour we do, we can see a difference in the kinds of people that come and the number of people that come. And then for us, we're like always trying to level up our own performance, especially the songs that we've been playing for like years and years, just trying to add new things to it and tighten everything. And yeah, I feel like it was our best tour.
Yeah, it's like crazy to see people singing our songs back to us. I think that's the biggest change for me that I've noticed in this past specific tour. It was wild to feel like people really wanted to hear us play and wanted to sing along, and that was like very fulfilling.
And wearing our colors.
Yeah,
a lot of people came wearing we have these colors every time we perform.
So it's blue, pink, and green every time.
Yes.
Do you need a red member of Trousdale?
Yes,
we do.
I feel like I could do that.
Yes, the answer is yes.
We've been waiting for
I'm not.
your
application.
Application.
Okay. I'm not incredibly musically inclined.
That's okay.
But I could
You can do
add
interviews
something.
on the road.
Yeah.
I could.
You could just be here for the vibes.
Have you done many interviews on the road? Stopping by any radio stations or TV or anything?
We didn't do a ton on this past leg, but we went out for a month in October and we did several on that tour. And those were all like East Coast kind of things.
Yep.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And another tour is coming real soon. I think it starts in June.
Yes.
Some dates with Teskey Brothers,
Yep.
which is fantastic. And it looks like that's primarily an East Coast run, more or less, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go out on the road with them. I think they're the biggest rooms we've ever played, too. And their music is so good.
They're amazing.
And we're starting it off with Bonnaroo, too. We're playing Bonnaroo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very excited.
Heard good things about that festival.
Us too.
Never been myself.
Neither have we.
But yeah, you basically capped off the last tour with a show at the El Rey.
Yeah.
And I saw some shaky iPhone video of that. You guys covering a Fleetwood Mac song and some other tunes as well. And even though it was the shaky iPhone video, I mean, I got goosebumps. You know?
Thank you.
I mean, these shows, they looked absolutely amazing. And I understand that the El Rey is kind of a special-ish venue for this band, right?
Yeah, definitely. We played there about 6 years ago for our senior showcase. That's how we all met. We all met in college at USC. And every year, the Popular Music Program puts on like a senior showcase of the graduating members, and they all are in bands and like play their own music. And so 6 years ago, we played our song Love at the El Rey during the senior showcase. And so it was really crazy to be back, and we played that song called Love. Very surreal and
incredible.
Yeah, cool to be back and like doing our own show.
Yeah, as the headliner.
Yeah.
That's
It was crazy.
incredible.
Singing that song in particular was like crazy to look out and be like, wow, all of these people are here now just for our band.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really cool.
That's huge.
Really cool. Yeah.
We had the wireless mics. We were like, we
Yeah.
can walk out and do something different than we did 6 years ago.
Sure. Yeah. That's very cool. So I was doing the deep dive on Trousdale. You know, I've been living with your music for quite some time now. I found an article maybe somebody wrote, I think it's Santa Barbara publication out there.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm paraphrasing here, but they in talking about Trousdale, 3 different people from 3 different upbringings raised on 3 different kinds of music.
Yeah.
So what music, in your formidable years, what music was around you?
Yeah.
And who brings what to the table, more or less, I guess is the question.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of my personal favorite things about us is that we came together with, I was raised on a lot of funk, so a lot of Shaka Khan, Stevie Wonder, Prince, and then also, both of my parents are very musical, so I had like Joni Mitchell, also influences from my mom, John Colvin, Shania Twain, and I never really knew like what my voice was in terms of how I wanted to sing or write because the influences are so different.
Yeah.
And then meeting you guys are both from different musical upbringings.
Yeah, I grew up in Michigan in a really small town, so a lot of country radio, country music, and a lot of pop radio. I think that was like the first thing I ever like really listened to. My dad always played the White Album growing up, so a lot of the Beatles. And then I think in high school I got more into like indie music, kind of like a lot of the soundtracks, like the Twilight soundtrack and then Grey's Anatomy and like all of these shows on the CW, having all these like amazing music placements, and then just starting to like learn those bands and really digest that music. I think also the radio, like the pop radio at that time was just like, it was a lot more song driven than it is now, I think. Like there was like the Fray, One Republic, like those were like some of the biggest bands and like some of my favorites. So
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, definitely. So it was like a combination of what was popular at that time and just like country music and sync music. But what about you?
I grew up not listening to a ton of music. I did a lot of musical theater, so I was listening to a lot of musical theater. I played classical piano, was in choir. I feel like I have a lot of those influences. But like what was on the radio at that time too. There's definitely like some Green Day, some Avril Lavigne. Loved Bonnie Raitt and Norah Jones growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say mostly, like, if I were to put it in one, it would be, like, musical theater, honestly.
And then we really, I think if we were each to do our own individual project, it would be such different music.
Wow.
So that's the magic of Trousdale to me, is, like, we really are bringing, whether it's conscious or not, it's just what we grew up with, what's in our blood. And then whatever happens when the 3 of us are together, the sound even, separately from the songwriting, is something that you just can't replicate because it's just our. I feel like when people say that we sound like we're related, it's such a compliment because we really are from such different backgrounds of music, but we have such a similar connection to what makes a song move us, and what we think makes a song great.
Right.
So we'll always sing it with a similar, love, which feels like part of the
When it comes
magic.
to songwriting, for instance, on this latest record, do you think people could tell whose footprint or whatever is on each particular song?
I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not now.
Knowing
but
that we know now what you all just explained to us,
I feel like this past album, we did more collaborations, like more than just the 3 of us. And so I think it might be harder from Out of My Mind, but I feel like in the earlier EPs, it's a little easier to tell maybe.
Yeah.
Even if it's like who brought the start of the song in, and it might dictate how the song goes.
I feel like that's also,
totally.
it's like even though we have such different influences, I think we do a good job of melding them all together to be a different thing altogether, which maybe makes it a little bit harder to decipher, like which one of us is taking the lead there. Because I think even though we have such different musical backgrounds, we're all song driven and we're all looking to like tell a story and with emotion and with heart. And I think that's always what Trousdale is looking for in a good song. It's just like that heart.
Serve the song.
And hopefully all of them have that similar thing thread throughout.
Yeah. When I come into like a Trousdale writing session, I'm thinking like I'm gonna write for Trousdale.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like whatever the sound is that we've kind of created over the years, we're just kind of continuously, at least in this past record, serving kind of that sound that we've developed, which I'm sure will change over the years.
Well, maybe one day the blue record will come out.
Yeah.
The pink record and the green one.
Oh my gosh.
Type of thing.
Yeah. Totally.
You know, and you've said off camera already that another album's already in the works, which is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, we're very excited. We don't know like exactly what form it will be and how it will come out, but we've been writing, we're constantly writing in between everything that we're doing when we're traveling and recording the songs we've already written, and so we have a collection of songs already, and we're definitely gonna, now that we're home for like a few months, we're definitely gonna sit down and like write some more, just the three of us.
I imagine it's easier to do than on the road.
Oh, I would never.
Although one of our songs, If You're Hurting, which is on the Out of My Mind, we did start that on tour in a hotel room.
It's easier to start. Actually, tour is a great place for our songs to start.
Yeah.
Like the idea is
because you're feeling so many things, and you're like,
right. What was the sort of catalyst moment
for If You're Hurting?
Yes.
We were, well, I think we had just played a show. We were opening for JP Sachs. We were in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we came back to the hotel we were staying at, and we just started singing that. I feel like you started singing If You're Hurting, and then we kind of we were feeling the audience because people were really listening to us, and we were kind of trying to, at least my memory of it is, I was trying to assess what the audience was feeling at that show, and it's just an intense thing to perform and get a different vibe in the room every night, and that was just a specific vibe, and for some of that audience it was a energy, and we were, I'm sure, somewhere subconsciously also feeling like we were hurting a little bit, of missing home, whatever. But, you know, songs just come when they come. And we were there, and then it came, and we kind of finished it a little bit in that hotel room, and then we finished it fully with Maddie Diaz, who's an amazing writer.
Yeah.
Like a couple months later.
My goodness. You're already name dropping a little too much for me. Okay. JP Sachs, Maddie Diaz.
Sorry.
Again, we're here with Trousdale. TrousdaleMusic.com is the website. Your merch game is good. And people could do the deep dive into all things Trousdale on the website. How important is social media to this band?
It's really important. I feel like it's more important than we wish that it was.
As Quinn says that with like an insane look in her eyes.
You have to force yourselves to do it.
It's definitely a job for sure.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Every day.
But honestly, the more that we've put into it, the more fun I feel like we can have with it. And Quinn, I don't know, you're not agreeing with me.
No, I agree. No, I agree. I was just thinking, I don't know how Georgia's like the queen of Instagram for us.
Okay.
And she, especially when we're on the road, it's like she's taking care of it. And so I don't know how much fun you have with having to post every day on Instagram. Well,
it's kind of creative. It's a fun little way. And after a show, it's kind of like the next day, I've changed my pattern. I no longer check the tagged stories the night of the show. I do it the next morning. Because sometimes, you know, you can be a little hard on yourself. Like, well, that sounded great. That sounded really bad.
Yeah.
But I think, it's a job.
Yeah.
Like
I feel that about TikTok, too. I think TikTok's a little bit more, I think it's like you could kind of put whatever on there because...
Yeah, Quinn is our TikTok guru.
Most of our followers don't see our posts. Like, TikTok is so difficult where we have, like, 200-something thousand followers, and, like, sometimes we'll get, like, 1,000 views on a video. So I think there's a good and a bad part of that where I don't think that we get enough eyes on like our music yet and ears on our music, but you can kind of just like put anything.
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier with Instagram, like more people see it.
And I will just quickly say, I think just social media in general feels so important to our band because we get to show our personality, just the craziness of us, the way that we look without all this makeup. And I feel like our fans, when they come to shows, feel like they know each of us individually.
Yes. So the social media thing could be forced. However, it comes off very genuine, like you're engaging your fans in a really cool way digitally. You know,
I'm so glad.
there was a video that I saw of you all on the road, and it's sort of a video montage, if that's what you call it.
Yes.
I don't know if it was a line dance or the electric slide or whatever. But it was like, you know, different stops along the road. Here's a truck stop. Here's a so-and-so or whatever. I loved that little snippet of a video. I thought it was very clever that you would take the time to do that. So that was Georgia's doing.
Well, we all, you know,
we all filmed it and did it, and then Georgia edited all the clips together. It was funny sometimes, like, being a little uncomfortable, being like, let's just do it here. Like, there are people watching, and they're all like judging us. We're like, and we're like using our phone and playing the song, and just like,
But like Quinn would have just woken up from like a deep sleep in the van.
Deep sleep.
We'll do the line.
It is like, it's so, like, I think going off of what Georgia said, like showing who we are and showing just like what our actual lives are like, especially on tour. I think there's like a big misconception sometimes that it's so glamorous and we're traveling the world and like, oh, did you get to sightsee and like, how did you like the city? And
what food did you try?
we all the time people are like, how did you like the city? Like, did you get, and we're like, we rolled in an hour ago.
I was just about to ask you, like, what's Vancouver like? But you may or may not have even experienced it.
No clue.
Well, we walked around for a second.
Oh, yeah, we walked like one block and then back to see the sunlight.
Great block.
And then came back and did sound check.
Totally.
It's a good block.
block.
Got
Yeah,
your
it was a
steps
good
in
block.
first, a block.
Block of steps. Got a Salvation Army. You know, saw a Salvation Army.
That was Vancouver. Yeah, we did walk to Salvation Army to buy some merch because our merch got seized at the border.
Oh, really?
Yes,
You
indeed.
can't bring merch across the border anymore, apparently.
Well, you gotta just be a little careful about how you go about it and how you prepare with the paperwork and, you know.
If anybody has any questions, you know, about the border, they can just message us.
So you know all about it at this point.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we're experts.
Yeah, we're walking back and forth between U.S., Canada. Got to know all the guys.
100 meters.
100 meters away. Using the metric system on us, it was cruel.
So we're gonna hear some live music in our studio. 3 songs off the new record, Out of My Mind. One of those songs is Smart Iowa, and there is a music video for that song that was sort of produced by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Who came up with the concept? I guess you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was actually watching a TikTok and someone was doing like shadow work with like performance with their hands, and I was like, so cool. And then I was like, we should do that. Like we don't have a lot of money to spend. We don't have like large budgets on anything. And I was like, we actually probably shouldn't hire someone to do that. And then I was watching Harry Potter, and I was watching the scene in the last movie where they talk about the Deathly Hallows, and it's like this beautifully animated portion of the movie, and it's like a little childlike because it's a children's story, but it also is dark, and it was just so cool. And I just started doing like a deep dive on like there's an animator, Lotta, maybe that's how you pronounce her name, Lotta Reiniger, and she was in like the 20s. She was doing this animation. She was one of the first animators, and she did stop motion. Anyway, I got like super inspired by it. I have never done like visual art before, but I just got really obsessive about it.
Incredible.
Honestly, was doing it nonstop and was cutting everything out and did it on a cardboard box.
She would bring it. We were in the process of finishing the album, and she would bring
her paper
and her
X-Acto knife.
and do it while she was giving notes.
Yeah.
Can we just cut that? Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really
it's very cool. Again, that's the Smart Iowa video. So you're from Michigan originally, and what about the rest of the band?
I'm from Los Angeles, California, just right down the freeway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm from upstate New York originally, but I've lived in Santa Monica for a
Cool.
really long time.
So we claim you as our own. You are officially a Southern California band.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're here to support you no matter what. Again, it's a pleasure to have you here in studio right now. A couple more questions real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Who made the shirts?
Thank you so much for asking.
Yes, so glad you asked.
So Hannah Sai, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and her Instagram handle is by Hannah Sai. And she made a video and tagged us in it of her making these Trousdale like styled tops.
Crochet.
And it was right before our LA show, and I was really looking for an outfit to wear, and I saw the video, and I was like, I have to wear this at the show.
She has a hood.
It's a hood and
Oh,
everything. Cool. Yeah, it was so sweet. She came to the show. She brought these for us, and it's an honor to wear them. They're like so beautifully made.
I know.
It's the first time someone's like made all of us. Oh no, someone made us vests before.
Yes.
So this is the second time a fan has made us clothing. So if anyone out there wants to make us, custom clothing, if you're feeling
We'll wear
inspired by Hannah, just go for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you said you all met at USC, and that's the music program, right? I imagine.
Yeah.
So going into a program like that, did you come in as like, oh, I'm going to be the bassoon player? Or, I'm going to learn how to be the best vocalist? Or I specialize in, piano. So was that how you get into the system there?
Yeah, you have to audition with like an emphasis, as they call it. So I was songwriting.
Georgia did kind of both songwriting.
I auditioned as voice, and then I got my way into the songwriting major.
And then
I didn't even realize it was a freaking thing.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't even know there was songwriting. I wouldn't have auditioned as a songwriter, but I went in as a vocalist and then started songwriting.
Yeah. And there are people that are like guitar emphasis, piano emphasis,
drums.
Right.
Yeah. But once you're in, they kind of really expect you to, be a jack of all trades and hop on the guitar, hop on the keys, and be a team player like within the band.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you found each other there and never looked back.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yep, exactly. There were only 25 of us ish in the program, so it wasn't hard for us to find each other. But we're glad that we stuck with it.
Yeah, we definitely weren't like, oh my God, I don't think that we knew then that this was going to be our career. I think we genuinely found each other, and it felt like such a source of comfort and a space to feel comfortable and safe within this really scary, kind of intimidating program. And I think we all had our own separate, initially, dreams of doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And it unfolded in this beautiful, unexpected way, as life does. It was just like, okay, this is actually what I'm going to spend my life doing. And
we say all, it's like, honestly comical how many times we say we're so grateful for each other, like in any given week, because it really is such a tough journey to make it in music, and especially as an artist. And there are so many highs and lows, and being able to go through those with some of your best friends is just really such a gift. And I don't think that I personally could do it on my own. Just like, it's so tough, and
it's so tough.
Yeah, we're so grateful to have each other.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Well, congrats on the recent success.
Thank you.
And again, we'll be here for you. So our doors are open. Open door policy. Come visit us anytime.
It is an honor. It is an honor to be here with you guys. Honestly, we love this station. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. See, music fans dig on what the SoCal sound is doing.
Yeah, it's a favorite on my radio in my car. It's like one of the. So good, great music.
Appreciate that.
Not to like toot our horn by saying great music because we're on here, but genuinely, it's an honor to be here.
It is.
Yeah.
Appreciate that so much. And people could find you on social media. Just search for Trousdale, I imagine, right?
Trousdale Music, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you soon.
Yay!
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You got it.